Hi, I am Travis Titwell. I'm with Rockwell Automation, and I serve as a strategy lead for our cybersecurity services business. Today, joining me as an field expert that is, we will be discussing a few topics, which includes the importance of protecting manufacturing operations. We'll also be discussing different various aspects of OT cybersecurity, and as well, getting some lessons learned from him that he has captured throughout his time in the field. So joining me in that conversation, without further ado, is the VP and Chief Information Security Officer with Church Dwight. David, great to see you again.
Hi,
Welcome
Travis.
to Automation Fair.
Thank you.
Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure, I'm David Ortiz, Chief Information Security Officer for Church Dwight. You may know us as Arm & Hammer. It's one of our 14 power brands.
Perfect. Thanks for that introduction. And I had the pleasure, Dave, of working with you over the last few years. And I'll tell you, what really has stuck out about you is that you had a deep interest in not only, of course, obviously, understanding the cyber risk that could be associated or impact Church Dwight, but you had a very deep interest in building relationships, working with the people, getting them aligned with the organization's initiatives, and that was something that really stuck out to me. So I would like to kind of just have you maybe kind of unpack what were some of the challenges, some of the lessons learned, and we'll get into all that. So let's start off with what were some of the key challenges that you were facing as a CISO?
Yeah, sure. So the key challenges in the manufacturing area was our lack of visibility into the manufacturing OT network. Mm-hmm. We didn't really have an understanding of our manufacturing assets, the vulnerabilities on those assets, and the potential threats that could be on the OT network.
Okay, and so thanks for putting the spotlight on those challenges, and I'll say you are not alone, or Church Dwight is not alone. That's a common concern that customers have when they're asking me questions around, hey, how can I either go about getting started, or how can I even go about improving my cybersecurity strategy? And my response is around, it definitely starts with understanding your cyber risk posture.
Yep. And
that starts with getting visibility.
Yep. And
that's describing what you, or at least align with what you were just describing in terms of getting that kind of visibility. So when I think about those challenges and those strategies, what were some of the strategies you implemented in order to address those challenges?
Yeah, so the strategy really started with the cyber maturity assessment. Okay. And what we wanted to do was really identify any gaps in cyber risk and any gaps in our cyber controls.
Okay. So certainly, solid strategy. And as I think about, as you say, the assessments, those assessments where we had an opportunity to work with you on, those were key things that fed into those strategies, because it really kind of put a spotlight on some of those challenges. It also kind of started to pull people together to really kind of talk about this, because you can't come to these answers in the vacuum, right? So I would like for you maybe to kind of share who were some of the stakeholders that you had to work with, and how did you work with them in order to get their buy-in to support those strategies?
Yeah, so the stakeholders were the leadership teams, the manufacturing teams, and the IT teams as well. So it really started with aligning on what the goal was, to really understand cyber risk, and to really set the tone at the top that we needed to acknowledge that and move forward and do something. And that's really where the assessment came in. And as we went through the assessment, collaborate with the manufacturing teams, really understand their business and what they're doing, and put the right plan forward to complete the assessments. Okay,
great. And I'm happy to hear that that was a great approach that you took in terms of working with those stakeholders. And it sounds like you have now kind of positioned yourself where you have a good support foundation and structure in place, right? And that is enabling you to work with these different teams. And I would say the power and importance of working with those different stakeholders is often neglected, or it kind of goes underestimated. So I would like for you now, looking at, okay, you had strategies, you had worked with your stakeholders to support those strategies. What are some of the things now that you're able to do that you were not able to do before?
Sure. So now we have visibility into the OT network where we didn't before. We understand those manufacturing assets, and we understand the vulnerabilities of those assets as well. We are looking at the network, we're monitoring it,
Okay.
we're detecting any threats that may be
Okay.
on that network itself, and we're really prepared to do rapid cyber incident response should we detect something.
Okay, perfect. And I'll say, great progress in definitely moving the agenda forward.
Yep.
And as I think about where you started, when we started this journey,
Yep.
you did not have all the answers,
Right.
nor did you even have full visibility to everything that was going on.
Right.
But however, I'll say that what you did have is an understanding that something needed to change.
Yep.
You had that understanding that we must work with our teams in order to figure this out, right? And you opened yourself up for partnership, internal and external,
Right.
in order to kind of move that forward. So
Right.
I take it that those are things that you must have picked up as lessons learned throughout your career. So
Right.
maybe you could share with the audience, what are some of the things that you learned in your career
Yeah.
that has helped you kind of be successful with your approach to these type of situations?
Yeah, it just goes without saying, right? Learn the business.
Okay.
And you hear us cyber folks talk about quite a bit. We want to treat cyber as a business risk, not
Okay.
as an IT problem.
Okay.
And that really starts with aligning with senior leadership.
Okay.
And then collaborating with the management teams as well, so everybody understands the cyber threats that are out there and the goal of reducing risk of availability to the manufacturing area.
Absolutely. No, great point. And as we get ready to wrap up, and you hit on something I want to talk to, certainly understand the risk as it relates to the manufacturing availability
Yep.
and the evolving threat landscape, because today's threats are going to be different in the future. We have new things with AI, there's all different types of threat landscapes that are going to change. And also, you don't have unlimited budget.
Right.
So you must be pragmatic in taking a risk-based approach. So what would be some of the things that you would advise to your peers or those who are looking to kind of get started or even advance further? Because this is a journey, so what would be some guidance recommendations that you would have for peers who are looking to?
Yeah, for us, Church and Dwight, it was real straightforward. We needed to partner with an industry expert,
Okay.
and that was Rockwell. And Rockwell was instrumental in the guidance and advice that it gave myself and Church and Dwight early on. It really helped us in the early part of the journey with the assessment and really making the right decisions to move forward and determine the right solution to put in for us to be able to understand risk.
There you have it, folks. That's a wrap. Dave, thanks for joining us. It was great working with you, understanding your priorities, and looking forward to the continued success of this partnership.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.